Today we're going to talk about how to become a slab leak specialist in 2019 and why this is the best specialty to have for your plumbing company, and we're going to talk about it right now. I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the expert plumber. I've been plumbing over 38 years and I have every master endorsement in the state of Texas. On this channel, I'm teaching you everything you need to know about plumbing. If you haven't been here before, please subscribe so you don't miss anything. So guys, in 2019, we've all got to look at different ways to grow. And focusing on different areas or becoming a specialist in different areas is a great way to do that. So to become a slab leak specialist, one of the first things that you need to understand are what are the causes. We're in Texas. I'm in Texas, Texas Green Plumbing. So the thing for me to realize is that slab leaks, really it's what came first, the chicken or the egg. Because slab leaks are either caused by foundation movement or a leak in the plumbing system on the water or on the sewer could have possibly caused foundation problems. That's kind of what we got to look at. Now, we deal with insurance companies all the time, and insurance companies want to know, well, did the plumbing cause the foundation problems or did the foundation problems cause the plumbing problems? And to be honest, we don't know that. Here in Texas, we get a lot of rain. And I say that because we're normally in a drought, so that's really weird, because normally we get about our annual average rainfall here in my part of Texas is 36 inches a year. Here lately, we've been getting 56 inches a year. That's almost double. I know that's a lot of rain, but I heard Eddie Wilcott say one day, Texas gets about 36 inches of rain and you don't want to be here on the day that we get it. We do get a lot of rain all at one time, and this causes movement on our foundations. You know, on the black clay that we're on, the rain will either help it stay wet and help it move that way because it gets wet, or it won't get wet and it'll dry it out and it'll help it move that way because it starts forming cracks and shifting around. So the shifting around is not good and can cause things like that. Moving around can cause plumbing leaks. It can cause the cast iron to break. It can cause cracks. It can cause a lot of different things. Putting improper chemicals in the drain. People that use these acidic drain cleaners all the time can actually rot out the bottom of a cast iron pipe. Now, I've got other videos that I've done where I talk about cast iron pipe and how long it's rated for. Cast iron pipe is actually made to last 25 to 50 years above ground. As soon as we start putting it in the ground and burying it, we start it on the rusting process. And guys, that's a problem that we have. Another thing that can cause a leak on a water line, I call it the pebble effect. You know, when you drive past the Grand Canyon, you realize that trail of water has literally built the Grand Canyon. It's eroded away the soil and the rock and everything and made this huge, huge thing. Well, what happens is when a plumber lays out a water line, a copper water line, he rolls it out, kind of walks along it to help hold it down to get it unrolled because it loops from fixture to fixture to fixture under your slab. We do that because of the freezing temperatures. We didn't want to run copper overhead where it would freeze. So whenever we're walking along that, if there's a little pebble there that we roll the copper out on and it puts a little dimple on the inside, that water going across that for the life of the water line can slowly erode that copper and make a pinhole. So that is another way that leaks occur and that they're caused by. Another one is dissimilar metals. You know, we've got different metals in the ground. That's where we get most of our metal from. And when we bury copper in there and there's water flowing through it, you create electrolysis. And electrolysis slowly erodes away the softer of the two metals. And copper is really a pretty soft metal. So dissimilar metals can be a problem. So when it comes to slab leaks and leak detection and becoming a specialist in the leak detection end on your plumbing system, you need to know what tools to have. One of the very first things you're going to do for any sewer test or any slab leak test, you're going to come out and do a sewer water test. Those are simple tools. You put a gauge on there, you turn off the meter, you check the water, you let it set for 30 minutes, you see if the pressure drops any. Sewer's a little bit different. You need to have a two-way clean out to do this properly because you're going to go in, you're going to stick a test ball in there. Some realtors here in Dallas keep calling it a hydrostatic test. It's not a hydrostatic test. Get off of it.
Stop it. Get some help.
Wikipedia, Google it, whatever. A hydrostatic test requires a pump to induce pressure into the system. A good plumber doesn't do that. What we do, we stick a test ball in the sewer line to clog it up. If you've ever had a stopped up sewer line, your line's been under this same test, whether you realized it or not. Then what we do, once we put that test ball in there and clog the sewer, we just fill it with water. We just want to make sure it holds water. This test is something that's done on every plumbing system in Texas for an inspection. That is part of the system and probably all across the United States. You don't just put pipe in and hope it holds water. You test it and make sure. If you're a real estate agent and you represent a buyer, you should have a sewer water test done on every house they buy. And I say this over and over again to realtors, hoping that they'll understand and save their buyers money. So those are the two tests. They're very simple. There's no hydrostatic involved. There's no hydrostatic pump involved. So nothing changed. So those are your first tools. The other ones, you need a camera. You need tracing equipment. You need listening equipment. There is a lot of equipment to invest in to become a specialist in this, but some of this equipment is not really expensive and you can start out on the cheaper end and move up. But I do recommend using good quality equipment. Let's talk about cameras. So if you're on a sewer test, a camera is not a test. And I can't tell you how many plumbing companies here in this area say they specialize in slab leaks and slab leak repair, and all they do for a test is run a camera in. And they'll do this for buyers too, so buyer beware. They'll run a camera and say you don't have a leak. Well, I hate to tell you, if there's a crack in that pipe that they can't see, and I promise you from being in this industry, they can't get into every inch of pipe underground. But if there's a crack they can't see, you can still have a leak under there that can lead to foundation problems. Always do the sewer water test. If you want to run a camera afterwards, that's also a wise recommendation, because now you can look at and see, are there bellies? Are there anything that could cause a problem later? Another good one about the sewer test, have them run the camera. Run the camera from the two-way cleanout out towards the street. See if you have any bellies or any roots out there. A sewer water test covers from the two-way cleanout under the slab, because that is the most expensive problem that you'll have. So that's a camera. On a sewer test, you need to do an isolation once you determine there's a leak to locate it. This is a hard test. This takes a lot of time. I tell people this takes all day long. You get a plumber out there with a camera, with test balls and long hoses, and you isolate every section of the sewer. Now you imagine how big your house is and where all you have plumbing and what your plumbing system probably does under there. And we can normally isolate that leak to within a foot or two and say, look, this is where your leak is. Water's a little bit different. You need to isolate it. You need to go in and find out where the lines are. You don't want to just start listening in a house. You want to know where the lines are. That way you know where to listen. If you're just running all over the house listening, you're listening in areas that there may not even be a water line at. That's a big mistake. Get the equipment. Know where your lines are. Know how to listen or how to look for the leak. And then another big one that we're starting to get into, is helium. If you've got a leak out in the yard and you can induce helium into the system with the right equipment, you can literally pinpoint and know right where that leak is. Becoming a slab leak specialist is easy to do if you have the right equipment. But one of the other big tools is training. What kind of training are you getting? I have been to training in California twice with 2 different companies, and I've been to other training too, and I study online. I want to make sure that I understand everything about slab leaks, leak detection, and slab leaks on your plumbing system, slab leaks on your water system, whatever it is. And you know what? If you've ever had a slab leak, do me a favor, leave a comment down below. Let me know what kind of slab leak you had and what the repair turned out to be, because there's different kinds. On a sewer line, you've got 2 choices. You can make a hole in the floor, or you can tunnel under. Now, when you tunnel under, you can either fix that repair or you can reroute around front, which will also involve trenching. Water service, if you have a leak, you've got a little bit different options. You can make a hole right there through the floor. You can tunnel under, but you can also, if you know where that line goes to and from, which through your tracing you should, you may be able to reroute that line overhead. Becoming a slab leak specialist takes a lot of training, and it takes a lot of knowledge, and it takes a lot of studying, and it takes a lot of tools, but this is a great way to set yourself apart from any other plumbing company around you. A lot of plumbing companies still use third-party people to tell them if there's a leak and tell them where it is. Guys, if you want to set yourself apart and be a great plumbing company and specialize in something really good, Slab Leak Specialist is a great thing to do. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and a like. Please subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. And guys, we've got other videos talking about other things, and hopefully we'll see you on the next video if you don't get flushed.